As a court, please, my lord, the matter was adjourned last week Tuesday on the 20th to today to follow up on the information that Advocate Mnisi requested.
Right.
This information can be classified in 3 categories of vehicle. The first category relates to the vehicles that were used by the SWAT unit during the period June 2020.
Right.
We have since obtained an affidavit from an official of the city of Ekurhuleni attached to the Information and Communication Technology Department, who has access to all AVL records of the motor vehicle of the Ekurhuleni Metro Council.
Right.
We've established that during that period, the team that escorted from Ekurhuleni Metro, that escorted the cold case unit, used 4 vehicles, and those vehicles are covered in this affidavit. It was namely a white Audi A3. The registration number is BZ35MCGP. It's got a fleet number as well, fleet number 261515. And secondly, it was a white BMW 125i with the registration number FT33GRGP with fleet number 262180. The third vehicle was a white Nissan double cab NP300, registration number CN71BVGP with fleet number 132247. And the fourth vehicle was a white marked Isuzu double cab with a registration number JC72PVGP with fleet number 133444. And in this affidavit, my lord, the official states that these vehicles were allocated to the SWAT team during the period 2020. And he states that there is no AVL data available for the period of 2020. This period covers the following months, my lord: May, June, and July 2020. He says there's no AVL data for these 4 vehicles and other vehicles that are owned by Ekurhuleni Metro Council. And he says, my lord, that he conducted a thorough search within the city's fleet tracking system. And he says, my lord, that prior to or that the current tracking system, my lord, was only implemented after 2020, the fleet tracking system. And he states furthermore, my lord, that there's no historical AVL data that was migrated from their previous tracking platform into the current system. And he attributes this to various factors. Firstly, he says this is due to a supplier logged-in, an unresolved contractual dispute between the service provider and the Ekurhuleni Metro, which prevented the city from obtaining legacy data from the previous service provider at the time of the transition. And he says the current system was locked without the legacy data being transferred to the current system. He therefore says, my lord, that there's no data, there's no AVL data from the Ekurhuleni Metro for the period 2020, nor can they get it from the previous service provider, as this exercise was done on many previous occasions on different matters, as well as after the current request without any success, my lord. And he attaches the certificate of registration from the INATI system to confirm that these 4 vehicles were or are owned by Ekurhuleni Metro. So in a nutshell, my lord, as far as the vehicles that were used by the SWAT members, no AVL records can be traced. Then the second category of vehicles is the one that was used by the crime intelligence, and that to a large extent refers to the Toyota Baki that was used by Constable, the late Sergeant Mabena. In that regard, my lord, the investigating team was able to obtain a case docket that was open after Sergeant Mabena was involved in that fatal accident. It's a copy of the case docket, the post-mortem, as well as all the chain statements, the statements of the police officers who attended the scene after the accident. And there's also attached to this document photos of the vehicle wherein Sergeant Mabena demised, the white Toyota Baki. There's also a statement from the section commander public transport in the Counter and Security Intelligence Unit at head office, dated 20 November 2023, addressed to Brigadier Gininda, and it's addressed to the head of the cold case unit, and it reads as follows: First Lawrence Cast 63610 of 2014, assistance for information on motor vehicle Toyota Hilux double cab, gives the registration number BK23RLGP, and it says AVL stroke tracker records for Sergeant KS Mabena. The important paragraphs are paragraphs 4 and 6. Paragraph 4 states as follows: the vehicle Toyota Hilux double cab registration number BK23RLGP was not featured with auto vehicle location in brackets AVL or any other tracking location device due to the nature of the operations involved. Paragraph 5, the vehicle log sheet for the month of June 2020 was searched and could not be traced from the storage, and the person who may have been in better position to assist in this matter is now deceased. Paragraph 6, furthermore, the said motor vehicle was involved in an accident on 23 September 2022 where Sergeant Mabena lost his life as per Mecklenburg CAS 142/9/2022, and the vehicle was written off and sold as scrapped as a result of the accident. And the affidavits that I referred to earlier on pertain to this case docket Mecklenburg CAS 142/9/2022. Then the last category of the vehicles, my lord, is the vehicle that was used by Sergeant Mabena, on which information was also requested. The investigating team obtained the statement of a warrant officer who is attached to the Ekurhuleni district office as a fleet manager, and he confirms that he received a request regarding one of their vehicles that was used by Constable Zungu, a Volkswagen Polo, on 26 October 2014, as well as the log books pertaining to that vehicle. He says after receiving this request, he requested for time to launch a search for the logbooks of this VW Polo. And he says he went into the storeroom. He checked, but unfortunately he couldn't find any record or logbooks of this vehicle. And he says he did check all their storage and nothing could be found. That is, my lord, the sum total of all the vehicles that were involved. So in other words, there's no historical data for the AVL records. For the Ekurhuleni Metro vehicles, as far as the vehicle of Sergeant Mabena Toyota Hilux, it wasn't fitted with AVL. The log sheets cannot be found, and this pertains to the vehicle that was used by Constable Zungu as well on the 26th of October.
Sorry, that vehicle, does it still exist, the Zungu one?
Well, I suppose so, my lord. It doesn't state as to whether
Okay.
it does exist, but I suppose it does still exist.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Mnisi, any comments?
Thank you, my lord. This information, my lord, although initially it got requested by me on behalf of the accused, particularly the information relating to the AVL record from Ekurhuleni Metropolis and the information relating to the vehicle that was utilized by Zungu in relation to his allegation in this evidence in chief here. But subsequent to that too, the court indicated that, and I understood that to be a court order. The court indicated that all vehicles, actually all records, AVL records of vehicles that were involved in the arrest of all the accused that are seated here at court should be made available to the defense. Hence, I am saying, although that was initiated by me, but it came out as a court order. That is just point number one. Number two, my lords, I realize that the state is reading an affidavit that was penned by somebody else. or is giving a summary of an affidavit that was penned by somebody else, might just indicate, my lord, that there was never ever an agreement between the defense and the state that at some point in time evidence will be led through affidavits. That was never an agreement. So at all material times, if there is information that needs to be brought to court here, especially now that this is a criminal trial, that affidavit should be brought to court viva voce. There are issues that are contained in the affidavit here that we would still want clarification on. So we can really not, on behalf of accused number 1 and 3, limit ourselves to what is contained in this affidavit here. For an example, my lord, the statement relating to the non-availability, or the affidavit relating to the non-availability of the AVL records of the motor vehicles from Ego Ruleni. The person who penned this affidavit says that he went through their system, he could not find the record of the affidavit. But importantly, he also says again that furthermore, it is important to note on paragraph 4 of his affidavit, and I'm not validating the fact that evidence must be brought before the court through affidavits. It's just a response to my colleague, where he says that, furthermore, it is important to note that no historical AVL data was migrated from the previous fleet tracking platform into the current system. This was due to a supplier lock-in and unresolved contractual dispute, which prevented the city from obtaining legacy data from the previous service provider at the time of transition. As a result, the system was locked without the data migrated. This, to me, my lord, simply means that although the motor vehicles were used by Ego Ruleni Metropolis, somebody supplied them with these motor vehicles. In other words, if I may be corrected if I'm wrong, these were leased motor vehicles. And if these were leased motor vehicles, people who would have been responsible for the fitting of the AVL system could not have been Ego Ruleni Metropolis or Ego Ruleni, what is it now? The Department of Transport. It must have been the people who leased them with these motor vehicles. Otherwise, if the person who leased, or the company that leased them with these motor vehicles, gave them, did not fit them with these AVL gadgets before it leased them to Ego Ruleni Metropolis, this person must have allowed Ego Ruleni Metropolis to fit their own AVL data. Now there's a gap there. We don't know whether when these vehicles were leased from whoever that they were leased from already had this AVL data, or they did not have it. I don't know. But from the reading of paragraph 4, it seems to me that the person who might have leased these vehicles to Ego Ruleni Metropolis, because of a contractual dispute, kept certain AVL information with him pending the resolution of the dispute. So it is therefore incorrect to suggest that there was no record that was found relating to the AVL. There was, relating to the AVL records that were or of the motor vehicles that were utilized by Ego Ruleni Metropolis, who assisted in the investigation of this case. to my mind, it simply tells me that they simply went to their records and they ended up there. But this information, it tells me that the supplier is the person who could have or who could be in possession of this AVL record. And I've mentioned, madam, that this information is central to my presentation of accused number 3's case as per the instructions that I got from him. Therefore, it cannot simply be admitted on the strength of what is contained in here, and the person who penned this affidavit not being summoned to come and explain the circumstances relating to the leasing of the motor vehicle. Number one, I'm sorry, my lord. The instruction that I got from accused number 1 in relation to his arrest on the 5th, this does not involve accused number 3. So it is just not enough for somebody to pen an affidavit and say, I'm unable to get information here, and therefore the story must end up there. No, it does not work out like that. Particularly now that this is a court order, and the court order is very specific. All vehicles, all AVL data must be made available. In other words, when the court says all, court simply does not say get into your system, and then if you realize that there's no AVL record that has been found, and then you can come back to court and tell me that there's no AVL record. They must go deep, 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 because these AVL records are central to a just decision in this matter as it relates to accused number 3's case, my lord, without which accused number 3 would not have had a fair trial. I'm sorry, accused number 1 would not have had a fair trial, my lord. The same thing applies to the Zungu AVL thing, AVL request of, let me repeat again. The same thing applies to the requested AVL information of the motor vehicle that Zungu was using on the 26th of October 2014, as per his testimony that he drove from Tembisa to Johannesburg, where they had a traditional function there. We are only being told that they got into their storage and searched for logbooks. We're not looking for logbooks. We're looking for AVL records, as it happens with the Ford Fortuner, with the Toyota Fortuner, my lord. We're not looking for logbooks, because there's a propensity of information being falsified, and I'm saying this with due respect, in logbooks. That happens a lot. So that will not give a clear picture of the destinations or of the directions and places that this motor vehicle went to on the alleged dates, my lord. So we're not worried about the logbooks. They could not have been there in the storage. In any event, many things go missing in the storages everywhere, whether it's in the Department of Health, whether it's in the Department of Public Works, whether it's even in the police. Things go missing, as it has happened here. But we're not concerned about that. We're concerned with the AVL. If the state was able to get the AVL on the Toyota Fortuner, summarily they are unable to get the AVL records on these vehicles that you're requesting here, when a member of the investigating team specifically indicated that all vehicles are fitted with AVLs. It's very surprising. It's not only surprising, but it confirms our view that we had all along, that we could not have actually expected our persecutors to become our redeemers and saviors at the same time. And this is exactly what is happening here. And I pray that it does not really come to that. There's no investigation, proper investigation that was done here. I am still requesting that the people who penned this affidavit should either come to court here and give their explanation, be cross-examined, or be assisted on how to conduct this investigation, rather than to simply accept on the face of it what they are saying here. But in the main, my lord, this is central to the fair trial as it relates to accused number one. In so far as Mr. Mabena's vehicle is concerned, I heard a state saying my request was threefold. I'm not involved with Mr. Mabena's vehicle. But it can also be mentioned, my lord, that on the basis of what the court said, that all the AVL records of motor vehicles that were involved in the arrest of this accused person must be brought to court, then that remains also a requirement that AVL records must also be brought to this court. The fact that this motor vehicle was involved in an accident, it's neither here nor there. Unless the states want us to believe that that accident also took away the records that are stored in their system, which will be very unintelligent, my lord. We appreciate the information that this motor vehicle was involved in an accident, but there is nothing that explains in this document what is the situation with the AVL records. Thank you, my lord. I'm told, my lord, that accused number 3 would want to have my attention. Yes. Thank you, my lord, for the indulgence. It almost skipped my mind that in our quest, in requesting this motor vehicle, we also make mention of a Qashqai motor vehicle. I had a look at what this Qashqai motor vehicle is. I think it's so that it's a Nissan brand. Oh, it's made from Nissan. And accused number 1 is confirming that at the time of his arrest at Tembisa, throughout the day, this motor vehicle was also there. It has not been mentioned in any of the documents that were submitted to us here. He also mentioned, my lord, that there's a Ford Ranger that was also utilized by the Metro Police, which was marked as well. It has also not been mentioned here. He also mentioned that there was also a Golf that was driven by Jonathan that was also marked Metro Police Eguruleni. It has not been mentioned here, madam. So this is simply indicative of the fact that this was a cursory attempt to supply the information that was requested by the court, my lord. Hence, I am saying, on the strength of this, we cannot simply say, yeah, no, the police did everything that they can to to get hold of this information, my lords. So they just need to do more than this, my lord. It's a request, it's not an instruction. If they are unable to do it, then they need to say so that we go and talk to our instructing attorneys and map the way forward, my lord. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Mr. PD.
As the court pleases, my lord, let me start first with the documentation that has been provided to us. The first one pertaining to the late Sergeant Mabena. We acknowledge receipt thereof, my lord, and the contents thereof are self-explanatory. The deponent to the affidavit says he could not, this particular motor vehicle was not fitted with a tracking device or system because of the nature of work that Mabena was doing. It was intelligence work. Now, regarding the EMPD SWAT motor vehicles, when we last appeared in this court, Warrant Officer Lissereng, who's present in this court, did confirm that these motor vehicles were indeed fitted with the AVL tracking system. And just to follow it, my lord, and to concretize on the point that is raised by Advocate Mnisi, one of the vehicles that was driven by Jonathan, to wit, a white VW Golf motor vehicle, unmarked, is not mentioned amongst the cars for whom the records were sought to be obtained, and that is pertinent for accused number 2, my lord. But in addition, my lord, dare I say, without the fear of testifying in this court, I've worked matters relating to EMPD motor vehicles, and I know for sure, my lord, that previously these motor vehicles were leased from Afrinet and Avis, and therefore Avis and Afrinet were the owners before this migration that the deponent of this affidavit talks about. Perhaps will be the relevant people or organizations to approach pertaining to the AVLs before migration, because the person doesn't say there are no records. He says he cannot find historical records because they migrated from somebody else. So that somebody else will hold the historical records. So I believe, my lord, as Advocate Mnisi said, this was a cursory, leave me alone search. This was not a diligent search for what you are looking for. This was just to appease the court and say we've provided the records, my lord. As the court pleases.
Yes, my daughter indicated on the previous occasion that accused number 4 and 5 were not involved in any transportation. Yes, so in that regard or respect, I will have no submission. Thank you.
Okay. Any response?
If I can respond to some of the issues that have been raised. My lord, as far as the proposition that the vehicles were leased, as the point that was made by Advocate Mnisi and also buttressed by Mr. Ramsepile, we finished the defense with copies of the INATIS system, as I mentioned earlier on, and the first certificate of registration pertains to a BMW 1 Series that is mentioned in the affidavit. It shows that this vehicle was bought new on the 8th of March 2017, and it shows the owner in the sense of a proxy, as naturally Metro, it's an entity and not a natural person. It shows the title holder, and it says name EMM Fleet. So it's Ekurhuleni Metro Municipality Fleet. That is the title holder. And it also shows the owner, and the owner is also EMM Ekurhuleni Metro Municipality Fleet. and it says date of issue is 8 March 2017. So that's the municipality was the owner before 2020. That is as far as the BMW is concerned. Now, as far as the Nissan NP300 hardbody is concerned, same situation. The certificate of registration indicates that the date of liability is from 9 July 2013. And the title holder is also EMM, Ekurhuleni Metro Municipality Fleet. The owner is also Ekurhuleni Metro Municipality Fleet, and says date of issue 9 July 2013. So it's also before 2020. As far as the next vehicle is concerned, the Isuzu, the certificate of registration also indicates that the date of liability is 18 July 2019. It's also new. The title holder, it's Ekurhuleni Metro Municipality Fleet, and the owner is also Ekurhuleni Metro Municipality Fleet, and the date of issue is 18 July 2019. Then the other vehicle, it's the Audi. Date of liability is also 3 August 2012. It was bought new. And the title holder is also Ekurhuleni Metro Municipality. And the owner is also Ekurhuleni Metro Municipality. And the date of issue is 3 August 2012. So these vehicles, my lord, according to the certificate of registration, were owned by Ekurhuleni Metro Municipality and not leased. Then the second point that was raised regarding the Nissan Qashqai and the Ford Ranger as well as the Golf, we don't have information on that. We'll have to consult with the team from Ekurhuleni Metro. Then, as far as the use of affidavit is concerned, my lord, which is merely explaining to the court as to what the position is regarding the information that was requested. If my colleagues want these witnesses just to come and confirm what is in the affidavit, by all means, we can do that, but we submit, my lord, that I don't think that will be very useful to subpoena those witnesses just to come and confirm what is stated in the affidavit. And as far as the point raised by Advocate Mnisi that they never agreed to the use of affidavit, when we're dealing with the warning statements, Advocate Mnisi requested that each warning statement be accompanied by an affidavit, which was then furnished to them. I mean, they never raised the point that they would like each and every deponent of that affidavit be subpoenaed. But be that as it may, my lord, we submit that the state has indicated that the information sought is simply not available. As considered by Mr. Ramsipil, as far as the vehicle of Mr. Mabena is concerned, it wasn't fitted with an AVL. Even if we postpone this case, my lord, and another search is launched, it will simply come back with the results that these vehicles are not fitted with AVL. We therefore, my lord, submit that much as the accused need to be assisted with their version, all reasonable steps have been made to assist them with their version. And unfortunately, the information that is requested is simply not available. We therefore submit that the matter need to proceed now.
Yeah, fine. You know, this court has bent backwards. No court in South Africa can do what I did. And I've appeared in these courts for over 50 years. This court is not supposed to investigate any version. But this court, in the interest of justice, can assist like I did. But if Mr. Mnisi, Mr. Ramsepedi are not satisfied with the information which has been gathered through the assistance by this court, you are at liberty to subpoena these officials or gentlemen at liberty to subpoena them. Okay? At any stage of these proceedings, you are at liberty to subpoena them. Okay? You'll decide what you want to do. Thanks. Yeah, can we proceed then?
Emuva kokuthi inkantolo isibaleleke okushiwo umshushisi ethi-ke lokhu ebenicela-ke kakhulukazi yena-ke umsolo wokuqala nowesibili mayelana ney'moto lezi bayishilo-ke iy'moto ukuthi yiziphi kwayo iy'moto eziwu-4 lapha ama-registration abhaliwe ukuthi-ke lowo mbiko lowo awutholakali khona-ke nencwadi efungelwe lokhu kubizwa ngokuthi i-affidavit efundiwe la enkantolo ukuthi-ke lezo imoto lezo imininingwane ye-AVL lena ecelwayo ayitholakali. Maybe-ke ushilo ukuthi-ke akaneme-ke yilokho nokuthi-ke akwenziwanga uphenyo olujulile-ke ukona lokho bezocela ukuthi loyo muntu loyo obhale-ke leyo ncwadi-ke eze kube uyena ozochaza lokho kanye naye-ke washo uMr. Ramsepile ukuthi naye-ke akaneme yilokho kushiwo. Inkantolo-ke egcineni isithi-ke uma lokhu ekwenzile yona ukuthi-ke akusilona umsebenzi wayo inkantolo ukuthi yenze uphenyo uma-ke abameli nani-ke ingeneme yilokho kushiwoyo-ke abameli benu banelungelo lokuthi laba abantu laba noma lo ekuyena obhale le ncwadi bababize noma babalethe beze la enkantolo bazochaza-ke noma bazokusho-ko lokho. Ngala magama-ke inkantolo ithi-ke akuqhutshekwe ngoba-ke uyasho umbuso ukuthi-ke benzile-ke bona lokho bekufanele ukuthi bakwenze kodwa-ke wabuya umbiko uthi cha akunamniningwane ekhona etholakalayo yazo-ke le imoto lezi ushilo-ke la mbiko ukuthi iy'moto lezi zazinikezwe yona-ke iSWAT unit ngayo uJune ka-2020 isikhathi-ke uMeyi, uJune noJulayi kwakhulunywa nangayo imoto eyawushayelwa uyena-ke uZungu nge-26 ka-October 2014. Mr. Mnisi ukhulumile ngayo-ke iCashkai ne-Ford Ranger kanye ne-Golf eyayishayelwa uyena uJonathan kodwa-ke kuloko kubuyile uthi cha akukho noma-ke imininingwane ye-AVL abanayo abayitholayo.
Mr. Baloyi, just number those exhibits so that this case, if it goes anywhere else, you must be aware that there was information which this court had requested.
As a court, please, my lord, we will number them accordingly.
Yeah, please.
Sorry, my lord,
Yeah.
there's a hand.
Yeah?
Thank you, Madam. I mean, that's it.
Yes, Mr. Mnisi. Let's go on.
My Lord, may I request for an adjournment, a tea time adjournment, and early one. I need to take instructions from accused number 1.
Okay, what's your time then? Sir?
It's 11:05, my lord.
Okay, you can make it 1:30.
Thank you, Madam.